Hi, I'm the head of the NoAlco Foundation. My name is Miko Banach, and I'd like to invite you to talk a little longer about alcohol. Come on. Welcome. Welcome, my dears, to our next meeting. Of course, I'll start with what I always start with, which is, first of all, the definition. Alcohol, ethanol, is a poisonous substance. It's a psychoactive, addictive, narcotic substance, and there are no safe doses of alcohol. Yes, let's get that straight right from the start. And whether that alcohol is in beer, wine, or vodka, it makes no difference at all. Simply put, any amount of alcohol, any amount of ethanol is a poison. It kills our brain, it kills our cells, it causes cancer. It's simply crap. So, now I'd like to discuss the mechanism of alcohol addiction with you a little, because not everyone understands it. Alcohol addiction is a very complex process, and it exists on many levels. It's on a biological, psychological, and social level. Because alcohol affects our brain, and that's the biology. Alcohol affects our emotions, which is the mental, psychological element. And alcohol affects our behavior, which makes it a social element. I'd like to talk with you about what it's like when you take that first drink, you have that first glass, and you get to a total loss of control. I'd like to show you in detail the chemical and psychological mechanisms, because we often don't realize that these two levels go hand in hand. The first stage is the first contact with alcohol. I had my first contact with alcohol when I was 13 or 14 years old. My brother and I would carefully siphon homemade wine from a carboy, and while siphoning it through the long tube, we managed to drink some of it. Oh, it was so much fun. And so what? It's completely natural because alcohol acts on the reward system. Alcohol releases dopamine in us, which means pleasure, relaxation. And the first experiences with alcohol are usually super positive. First, there's a reduction in anxiety. Second, there's euphoria, an improved mood, great fun. And our brain learns, and it learns very quickly, that alcohol is a quick reward. Want to feel good? Have a drink. I repeat, regardless of what kind of alcohol it is, and regardless of what it's in. The second stage is the stage of repeating and reinforcing our emotions. So our reward system gets reinforced. Drinking becomes a habit. The more often we drink, the more our brain associates alcohol with relief, with fun, with social belonging, and so it's fun, 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 fun. We repeat, we reinforce these situations. A pattern of reaching for alcohol in certain situations emerges. That is, if we're stressed, we have to relax to reset. If we're sad, well, then alcohol also gives us that feeling of relief. And celebrating in our social relationships, which is actually one of the most important factors for alcohol consumption right now. The third stage is the tolerance stage. This means the body needs an ever-increasing amount of ethanol, an ever-increasing dose, to achieve the same effect. Over time, our brain stops reacting to small doses. Tolerance means you have to drink more and more and more to get the same level of relaxation or the same level of euphoria. And this, my friends, is the first serious signal of the risk of addiction. When we want more and more and better, we very quickly cross over to the dark side of the force. Physical addiction. I mentioned that we have two planes, psychological addiction and physical addiction. Physical addiction is terrible. Our body gradually becomes accustomed to alcohol, and the lack of alcohol causes physical and emotional withdrawal symptoms, shaking hands, sweats, anxiety, insomnia, sometimes depression. The body demands the substance. Alcohol becomes a necessity for normal functioning. That is, we're in a complete slump when we're not drinking alcohol. This, of course, is due to the effects of acetaldehyde. I'll talk about that in a separate meeting. But it also results from the natural production of dopamine, which is a neurotransmitter produced artificially by alcohol. And so, the lack of this dopamine in our system means that we feel we need it and we want it. Psychological addiction. It's like it comes from the fact that we are addicted to alcohol, or rather we are addicted to this substance that regulates our emotions. It regulates, or rather it gives us a way to solve our problems. We begin to believe that alcohol gives us solutions to all our problems, that without alcohol we can't cope with life. Alcohol becomes a tool for regulating emotions. No longer a joy, but a necessity. Without alcohol, we stop feeling good. We stop being cool. That is the psychological element. Chemistry. One of the most difficult things in treating alcoholism or addiction, because it's hard to talk about alcoholism in our sense of the word. I'll talk to you about that someday as well. We often think that an alcoholic is someone who lies under a store or somewhere in a ditch and so on and so forth. No, my dears, no. Our friend who drinks 2 or 3 glasses of wine every evening to reset herself is already an alcoholic. Yes. Alcohol affects the GABA center, which means it affects the neurotransmitters, dopamine, serotonin, and glutamate. The neurotransmitter GABA calms us down, but it also raises the level of dopamine, which gives us a reward. It disrupts the balance of glutamate, which means it stimulates us. With such a deregulation of the production of individual neurotransmitters and hormones, our brain loses its ability to self-regulate completely. We are completely messed up. Nothing is produced in normal amounts because we have destroyed it by consuming ethanol. A craving appears. An alcohol craving. Such a strong physical, emotional reaction to the lack of alcohol, and then our brain, feeling the lack of alcohol, perceives it as a threat. A series of physical and psychological symptoms are triggered, which force us, in order to feel normal again, to reach for alcohol. That little beer every day, that little wine every day, calms us down. It makes our life normal. Meanwhile, that is not a normal life. We'll take a short break. If you want to support the NoAlco Foundation, go to the website noalco.com. There's a gateway for donations. But if you don't want to spend your own money, go to the website funnymoney.pl/noalco. There's an app there that will leave a penny in our pocket from every purchase you make. Let's get back to the program. The limbic system and the amygdala remember our experiences, and in this case, they remember the pleasant experiences associated with alcohol. And listen, even after years of abstinence, the triggers that make you want to drink can be activated at any moment. It's a smell, it's a place, it's people. We're not even able to control what will cause our reaction to want to have a drink. It's the effect of a strong memory trace in the brain. Listen, this is chemistry, this is mathematics. These are not things made up by therapists. Chemically, we are both chemically and habitually addicted to the substance known as ethanol, which is commonly found in alcoholic beverages. The worst is also the addiction. Well, the worst, it's an extremely difficult psychological addiction. It's a mechanism of illusion and denial, of rationalization. An addicted person often doesn't see the problem. They say, no, I don't have a problem with alcohol, I can choose not to drink. But alcohol is a reward. Alcohol is an antidote to stress. Finally, alcohol is for company, for enjoyment and relaxation with friends or loved ones. Cheers. The psyche's defense system kicks in, which suppresses and minimizes threats. Our psyche says, it's not a problem, have a drink, you've deserved it, you've earned it. Or you're stressed, just relax. And a barbecue without a beer. Impossible. A wedding without vodka? Doesn't exist. And our body explains this away and absolutely does not take it into account. Can you imagine if at a wedding they served a super tasty salad with asbestos? Would anyone eat a salad with asbestos? And what if asbestos even cheered us up? But we drink vodka. Why? Social addiction. I've already talked about this. It's the kind of addiction where it's, you won't have a drink with me, right? It's inscribed in the culture. He who doesn't drink snitches. Alcohol is ubiquitous. It's accepted. A person who drinks isn't perceived as an addict for a long time. It's only when everything falls apart, you lose your job, you lose your money, that people say, oh, he has a problem. Well, he has a problem. No, that problem appeared much earlier. And we as a society accept it. As long as you're not lying covered in vomit and piss somewhere under a bridge, you're not an alcoholic at all. I assure you that's not what an alcoholic looks like at all. It all happens behind closed doors. Addiction is a disease of the brain, of the psyche, not a lack of willpower. Often people say, I have such strong willpower that I can choose not to drink. Well, okay, but the thing is, it's a disease. And treatment requires time, support from loved ones, and also from society in general. But most importantly, the treatment of alcoholism, for me as a therapist, begins when my client understands the mechanism of addiction and finds those symptoms in themselves. Aha, aha, aha. My brain is telling me now, have a drink. It's like this little mischievous guy with small curved horns just sitting right there on your shoulder, quietly and persistently whispering to you, saying, come on, have a drink, just have a drink. You know what's probably the worst part of allowing yourself to consume the poison that is ethanol? That moment when each of us, I've heard it before, you have to die of something. But why do it consciously? But why do it in such a permanent and systematic way? I just don't understand it at all. Or one of the worst statements, I think. Oh, come on, nothing will happen to me. I'll have a little shot, I'll be fine. My grandma drank until she was 90 and she was fine, so I'll be fine too. But the fact that 7% of cancers are caused by ethanol consumption, that doesn't even register with us. Do you really want to die of cancer? Or do you want to drink yourselves to death? Don't drink. I send you my warmest regards. If you liked it, please like, of course, subscribe and leave comments. And if you want to help the NoAlco Foundation, go to noalco.com. I send you my warmest regards. Hey,